The aquarium pump pulls air in through here and pushes air out through here. These are the two spots where we will attach the manifolds. The push manifold screws right in like so, turning the manifold clockwise until it reaches the point where the Teflon tape has been wrapped around the manifold. It should form a tight fit. These tubes will eventually hook up to the activated charcoal filters. The manifold for the vacuum simply hooks into the tube already placed on the pump, like so. These manifold tubes will eventually hook up to the collectors, which we'll be collecting volatiles onto. This portion goes inside the bag, as will be shown later, and then can be screwed onto the collector through the bag. The Teflon swage lock ferrules are only in this portion and this portion of the swage lock, the 2 points at which the swage lock seals around the collector, forming an airtight seal. Ideally, during normal operation of the portable collection system, the Teflon ferrules located inside the 1/4-inch swage lock connectors used to hold the glass collectors should never come outside or undone. However, if the 1/4-inch collectors are unwound too much, it is possible for the Teflon ferrules to fall out. If they do, it is possible to put them back in by picking them up with acetone cleaned forceps or some kind of other acetone cleaned metal tool. They go in, the flat portion goes in first, with the ridge facing upward. I will zoom in to show that more clearly. As you can see, there is a ridge or smaller circle on the top, which will be facing upward when you put it back inside the swage lock. Then the funnel with the smaller portion facing upward goes in on top of that. It should look like this. Then you simply have to screw the swage lock connector back onto the union. As I said earlier, you don't have to unscrew these all the way to stick the glass tubes in or out, so ideally this should never come off and you should never have to fix the Teflon ferrules. In order to place the activated charcoal filters onto the manifold, simply take the tube that's attached to the manifold and attach it to this connection. This will form a solid seal. On the other end of the activated charcoal is a swage lock connector which can be removed. This swage lock will go inside the bag as shown in a later step, and can then be screwed onto the collector through the side of the bag with a hole punched through it, allowing air to enter the bag. In order to attach the activated charcoal filter to the oven bag, you unscrew this portion of the swage lock on the front of the filter. This will go then inside the bag. The filter can then be screwed in through the bag simply by screwing the swage lock back on. Screw it on until it is nice and tight. Then, in order to make a hole in the oven bag, take a pair of acetone clean forceps or some other clean metal tool and use it to poke a small hole in the oven bag. Now, air will flow from the aquarium pump through the charcoal filter where it will be cleaned and into the oven bag. To attach the collector to the bag, take the portion of the swage lock which will be going inside the bag and place it inside, like so. Then attach the remaining portion of the collector swage lock like this. Until it is tight. Then, just like with the activated charcoal filter, you may have to use a pair of forceps to poke a small hole in the plastic. Like so. Then, you can take the remaining portion of the swage lock and collector, which you've already attached, and push it through. Like so. Then just tighten the swage lock at both ends, and you now have a seal. The collector is now inside the oven bag, while most of the swage lock is outside. Once the collector and charcoal filter have been attached to the bag, you can seal the bag by taking a metal bar, which will be included, and wrapping the oven bag tightly around the bar. Until you reduce the bag size to the size that you want. Then, you simply attach a series of plastic paper clips to the bar around the bag, making this seal a little more airtight. After that's been done, you can turn on the pump simply by plugging it in, which I will now do. You will see that if everything is sealed, that the bag will quickly begin to inflate. There we go. In order to control the bag's inflation, you will have to use the manifolds on the pump. In theory, all of the vacuum manifolds should be open, which means that the little bar underneath the openings should be set parallel to the openings instead of perpendicular, like so. Then, to stop the bag from overinflating, you have to adjust the other manifold, either by opening the fourth manifold, which is not connected to any bags, thus releasing some of the excess air, and also by controlling how open the manifold connected to the bag is, by closing it slightly or opening it more. With a little bit of experimentation, you should be able to reach an equilibrium where the bag is neither inflating nor deflating at a very high rate. Despite this, you will likely still need to check on the bag several times to make sure that it's getting nowhere close to exploding or to imploding. Simply adjusting the manifolds either at the vacuum end or at the push end should allow you to reach an equilibrium where you can leave the pump on for several hours without needing to be observed. After you have finished doing volatile collections or aerations, it is necessary to clean the components that were inside the bag. Fortunately, the only two components that are actually inside the bag are the large swage lock connector that the glass collector was going through, right here, and the swage lock connector at the end of the activated charcoal filter. So these two right here. Typically, we clean the swage lock connectors in 3 steps. The first being washing them in hot tap water with a small amount of micro 90 lab soap added. We let them soak for a few minutes and then vigorously scrub them with the soapy water. After they've been washed with the soapy water, we rinse off the soap with cold tap water. And then we also wash it off with some distilled water. The next step in the cleaning process, after allowing the swage lock connectors to air dry for a short time, is to wash them with acetone. Make sure to do this either in a hood or a well-ventilated area and to wear the proper PPE. We allow the acetone washed swage lock to dry for a short time inside a hood before moving to the next step. The final stage of cleaning the swage lock connectors is to place the acetone washed swage lock into an oven held at roughly 125 degrees in order to bake them out. Be careful when touching heated surfaces. We usually will leave them in the oven for about an hour or more in order to bake them out. Notice that during all stages of both the cleaning and using of the portable aeration system, I've been wearing nitrile gloves. This is highly recommended as you do not want to get any of your skin oil or odors on any components of the collection system and contaminate your aerations. Ideally, these are the only components of the aeration system you will have to clean between different runs of volatile collections. However, any of the swage lock components can be cleaned in this manner, including the Teflon ferrules located inside the 1/4 inch swage lock connectors. The bags are one-time use only and should be disposed of after use. Additionally, the glass collectors and the activated charcoal filters should not be cleaned. The activated charcoal filters can last a very long time and will not need to be cleaned between uses, and the glass collectors should only be used once for an aeration before being packaged up and sent for analysis.